The north is cold and full of whispers.
Before we dive in, check the link in the description if you want exclusive timelines, members-only videos you won't find on YouTube, all on our Patreon. Darkness, complete and absolute, then a gasp, sharp, violent. The sound of a man drowning in air. Jon Snow's eyes snap open. He stares at the ceiling of his chambers in Winterfell. Stone. Gray. Cold. The smell of the north fills his lungs. Pine and snow and ancient rock. His hands are young, smooth, no scars from the ranging beyond the wall, no burn from the Night King's blade, no calluses from years of wielding Longclaw against the dead. He sits up slowly. His heart is pounding. The room is exactly as he remembers it from a lifetime ago. Small, drafty, the bastard's quarters. Not the Lord Commander's chambers at Castle Black. Not the king in the North Solar at Winterfell. Just a boy's room in the castle where he grew up unwanted. Ghost is curled in the corner. A pup, white fur, red eyes, no bigger than a dog. Not the massive direwolf who stood beside him at the Battle of Winterfell. Not the beast who tore out Ramsay Bolton's throat. Just a pup. Jon's mind races. He knows this day. Knows it with the certainty of a man who has lived through its consequences 1,000 times in nightmares. The royal procession arrived yesterday. Robert Baratheon, King of the Seven Kingdoms, is sleeping off last night's feast somewhere in the guest quarters. Cersei Lannister is with him, or pretending to be. Jaime Lannister is somewhere in the castle. And Bran is going to climb today. Jon stands. His legs are steady. His body is 14 years old, but his mind remembers 40 years of war. He remembers the Wall, the wildlings, the White Walkers, the Long Night. He remembers Daenerys and her dragons. He remembers the throne room in King's Landing, and the choice he made and the knife in his hand. He remembers all of it. And now he is here, back, given a second chance he does not understand and will not waste. He crosses to the window. The sun is just rising over Winterfell. The yard below is empty. The castle is still sleeping. He has perhaps 2 hours, maybe less. He knows what Jaime and Cersei are doing right now. Knows where they are. Knows what Bran will see if he climbs that tower. Not this time. Jon moves to his door, opens it. The corridor is silent. He walks quickly, quietly, the way he learned to walk in the Night's Watch, a ghost's walk. He reaches Bran's chambers and pushes the door open without knocking. Bran is awake, 7 years old, already dressed, sitting on his bed and staring at the window with that look Jon remembers too well, the look of a boy who wants to be higher, to see farther, to climb. Jon, Bran's face lights up. "What are you doing here? I need you to come with me," Jon says. His voice is calm, steady, the voice of a man who has commanded armies. "Right now, to the yard." "Why?" "Because I have something to show you." Bran hesitates. "I know what you were going to do," Jon says. He steps into the room, kneels in front of his brother, looks him in the eye. "But I need you to trust me. Come to the yard. I'll teach you archery, properly, the way Father should have started teaching you already." Bran's eyes widen. "Really?" Jon finds a bow from the armory, finds arrows, shows Bran how to stand, how to hold the string, how to breathe. The boy is clumsy, enthusiastic, alive. Jon keeps him there for an hour, talking, teaching, making sure Bran's hands are occupied and his mind is focused on something other than climbing. A guard approaches eventually. One of the Winterfell men. "Begging your pardon, Jon, but the young lord's wanted for breakfast." "I'll bring him," Jon says. He hands Bran over to the guard, watches them walk toward the great hall. Bran is chattering about the lesson, about how many arrows he shot, about how Jon promised to teach him again tomorrow. Jon stands alone in the yard, looks up at the broken tower across the courtyard. One window, high up. He knows what is inside that room right now. He knows what he has to do next. He turns and walks toward the guest quarters, toward Robert Baratheon, the Wolf's Wood. Mid-morning, the royal hunting party rides through the trees. 24 men, horses, hounds. The sound of Robert Baratheon's voice carries through the forest like thunder. Loud, laughing, already half drunk. "Ned, you miserable northern bastard, keep up. The boar won't wait for your honor to catch it." His face shows the expression of a man performing cheerfulness as a duty. He has known Robert for 30 years, knows when the king is trying too hard, knows when the laughter is covering something else. Jon rides near the back of the party. He positioned himself carefully this morning. Volunteered to join the hunt. Robert noticed him at the feast last night, made some rough comment to Ned about the bastard having more soldier in him than half the knights in the Seven Kingdoms. It was enough. Jon is here. Now comes the hard part. He edges his horse forward, closer to Robert, closer to Ned, waiting for the right moment. The king is in full voice, telling a story about a boar hunt in the Kingswood 20 years ago, making the Baratheon men laugh and the Stark men smile politely. The story ends. Robert takes a pull from his wineskin. Jon moves his horse alongside. "Your Grace," Jon says quietly. Robert turns, squints at him. "The bastard. Jon, is it?" "Quiet. Not like the rest of these loud northern fucks." Robert grins. It is not a kind grin. It is the grin of a man testing whether you will flinch. "What do you want, boy?" "I saw something last night, Your Grace, while I was walking the ramparts. A light in the broken tower." Robert's grin fades slightly. "A light, yes, Your Grace. In one of the upper rooms. The tower's been abandoned for years. My father doesn't use it for anything. I thought it was strange. Thought you should know." Robert's eyes narrow. He is suspicious by nature, paranoid by experience. 17 years of marriage to a Lannister will do that. "Why tell me? Why not tell your father?" "I did mention it to him, Your Grace. He said it was probably just a servant. But," Jon pauses. Let's doubt-color his voice, just enough. "I thought a king should see for himself before forming an opinion." This is the needle. Robert Baratheon has spent 17 years being managed by people who thought they knew better than him, being told what to think, what to believe, what to ignore. The idea of seeing something with his own eyes, of being the discoverer rather than the recipient of information, it appeals to something deep in him. Robert looks at Ned. "You know about this?" Ned's face is carefully neutral. "Jon mentioned he saw a light. I assumed it was nothing." "You assumed." Robert's voice is flat. "Maybe I should see for myself. Make sure there's nothing worth knowing happening in your castle, Ned." Ned says nothing. He knows Robert in this mood, knows not to push. Robert turns his horse. "We're going back now. I want to see this tower." The hunting party turns, rides back toward Winterfell. Jon says nothing, does not look at his father, does not let his face show anything but mild concern. Ned rides beside him for a moment, leans close. "What are you doing?" "What I have to," Jon says quietly. Ned studies his son's face, sees something there he does not recognize. A precision, a certainty. It unsettles him, but he says nothing. They ride back to Winterfell in silence. The broken tower. Noon. The group approaches the tower. Robert is half intrigued, half annoyed. The mood is still loose. Joking, the king does not expect to find anything of consequence. Jon positions himself at the back. Watches. His heart is steady. He has done harder things than this. He has killed the woman he loved to save the realm. This is nothing. Robert reaches the door to the tower. It is old, heavy. He tries the handle. Locked. "Break it down," Robert says. One of the Baratheon guards steps forward, kicks the door once, twice. The lock shatters. The door swings open. Robert climbs the stairs. Ned follows. Jon follows. The rest of the party waits below. The stairs are narrow, winding. The tower has been abandoned for years. Dust, darkness, the smell of rot. They reach the upper chamber. The door is closed but not locked. Robert stops in front of it, looks at Ned. "You first," Robert says. Ned opens the door. Silence, not the silence of an empty room, the silence of a thing becoming permanent, the silence of something that cannot be taken back entering the world. Jaime Lannister and Cersei Lannister are caught completely. The room is small, a bed, a window, nothing else. Cersei is pulling her dress closed. Jaime is reaching for his sword belt on the floor. Both of them freeze. Cersei's face does not shatter, it cracks, slow, like ice breaking under weight. Her composure, the thing she has wielded like a weapon her entire life, fractures. She opens her mouth, closes it, opens it again. Jaime's hand moves toward his sword. A reflex, a trained response. Then he stops, reads the room. Robert's face, Ned's face, the men behind them in the stairway, a dozen Stark guards. Jaime Lannister is the best swordsman in Westeros, and he knows when he cannot fight his way out. His hand drops. Robert does not roar, does not weep, does not speak at all. He looks at Cersei, then at Jaime, then at Cersei again. He is a man turning to stone from the feet up. Everything he thought he knew about his life for 17 years is rearranging itself behind his eyes. The rearrangement is not grief, it is cold, terrible, absolute. 17 years of marriage, 17 years of sleeping beside a woman who despised him, 17 years of children who were not his, 17 years of being lied to by people he owned, housed, trusted. The clarity that comes is the clarity of a man who is absolutely certain about what happens next. When he speaks, his voice is quiet. The room becomes the most dangerous place in Westeros. Ned, take them. Guards, chain them both. The men move. Jaime does not resist. He goes with a soldier's economy, already calculating, already assessing what can and cannot be recovered from this position. The Kingsguard training holds. He does not speak, does not plead, just watches, files away information. Cersei resists, screams, "How dare you? How dare you, Robert? You dare stand here and judge me? You who have fucked every whore from here to Dorne. You who have bastards in every city. You who have never once treated me as anything but a—" "Shut her up," Robert says. A guard claps a hand over her mouth. She bites him. He yelps. Another guard grabs her arms. They drag her toward the door. She is still screaming, muffled, furious. Every word strips away the mystique and composure that has always been her primary weapon. She arrives at the stairs, having destroyed herself in front of every witness present. Jon stands in the doorway throughout, says nothing, watches with the expression of a man completing a task. Ghost has followed him to the tower. The direwolf pup sits in the doorway, watches Cersei with yellow eyes as she is dragged past. She cannot look at the wolf. When they are gone, Robert stands in the empty room, stares at the bed, the window, the place where his marriage died, where the lie was uncovered. He turns to Ned. "How long have you known?" "I didn't," Ned says. "I suspected. Jon Arryn suspected. But I had no proof until now." Robert looks at Jon Snow, really looks at him. "You knew where to find them." "I saw a light, Your Grace," Jon says. His voice is steady. "That's all." Robert stares at him for a long moment, then nods. "Thank you, boy." He walks out of the tower, down the stairs, into the yard. Every man in Winterfell is watching now. The word is spreading, the Queen and the Kingslayer caught. Together, Robert's voice carries across the yard. "Bring me the children. All 3 of them now." The dungeons of Winterfell are northern cells. Cold stone, darkness, torchlight that does not quite reach the corners. No tapestries, no comfort. Just rock and iron and the smell of earth. Jaime Lannister sits in one cell. Cersei in another. No contact between them. No guards who will speak to them. Just silence. Jaime leans against the wall. His mind is working. Cataloging, assessing. He has been in worse positions. He was held prisoner by Robb Stark for months in the original timeline. He survived that. He can survive this. But this is different. That was war. This is treason. This is oath-breaking of the highest order. A Kingsguard sworn to protect the king, sleeping with the queen. Fathering children who were passed off as the king's heirs. There is no talk that gets him out of this. No charm. No Lannister gold. Just the cold certainty that Robert Baratheon is going to kill him. The question is when, and how publicly. Jaime closes his eyes, thinks of Cersei, wonders if she is thinking of him. Wonders if this, all of this, the risk, the years, the lie, was worth it. He does not have an answer. In her cell, Cersei sits on the stone floor. Her dress is dirty, her hair is loose. She looks like a woman, not a queen. And that is the problem. Her power has always been ambient. The assumption of power, the weight of position and name and proximity to the throne. Here, surrounded by Starks, stripped of every prop that holds that assumption in place, she is just a woman in a cell. She is thinking 3 moves ahead. But in the north, those 3 moves point nowhere. She cannot bribe these guards, cannot threaten them, cannot call on her father, who is 1,000 miles away and does not yet know what has happened. She has nothing. For the first time in her life, Cersei Lannister has absolutely nothing. The realization does not break her. It calcifies her. She sits very still, very controlled. If she is going to die, she will die as a Lannister. Not weeping, not begging, just cold. The Great Hall. Evening. The hall is full. Every Stark, every guest, every household member of Winterfell. Robert has called them all. Robert sits in the high seat. Not the throne, the Stark seat. Ned stands beside him. Jon is in the back of the hall, half hidden in shadow, watching. 3 children are brought forward: Joffrey, Myrcella, Tommen. Joffrey is 12 years old, blonde, cruel-faced. He has never in his life been unable to make someone look away. He looks at Robert now, tries to summon the imperial arrogance he wears like armor. Robert looks at him for a very long time. Joffrey holds the gaze. Then his eyes flicker. Just once he cannot hold it. Robert speaks. His voice is loud, clear. Every person in the hall hears. Joffrey, Myrcella, Tommen, you are not my children. The hall goes silent, completely silent. Your mother is Cersei Lannister. Your father is Jaime Lannister. You are the products of incest. You have no Baratheon blood. You have no claim to my name. You have no claim to my throne. Myrcella begins to cry, quietly. Tommen stares at the floor. Joffrey's face is white. His mouth opens, closes, opens again. You are stripped of your royal titles. You are stripped of your succession rights. You are no longer Baratheons. You are Lannisters, and you will be treated as such. Robert gestures. Take them to quarters. Under guard, they are not prisoners, but they are not royalty. Guards move forward. Myrcella is weeping. Tommen goes quietly, confused. Joffrey does not move. His face is red now, furious. You can't do this, Joffrey says. His voice cracks. I'm the prince. I'm your son. You can't. I can, Robert says. And I have. Get him out of my sight. The guards take Joffrey's arms. He tries to pull away. They hold him firmly. He is dragged from the hall, still shouting, still denying. The hall erupts, not in shouts, in whispers, the sound of 100 people processing the impossible. The queen's children are bastards. The heirs to the throne are frauds. The realm has been built on a lie. Sansa Stark stands near the front. She had imagined Joffrey would be her king, her husband. Her future, she watches him dragged from the hall and feels something cold settle in her chest. Not relief, not satisfaction, just the death of a dream she did not know was a nightmare. Arya Stark is nearby. She is grinning, fierce, satisfied. She catches Jon's eye across the hall. He gives the tiniest nod. She almost laughs. Robb Stark approaches Jon afterward. The hall is emptying. People are leaving in shocked silence. How did you know where to look? Robb asks quietly. I couldn't sleep, Jon says. I walk at night. I saw a light in the tower. Thought it was strange. Robb studies his face. You just happened to see a light in a tower no one uses. At the exact moment the king needed to know about it, Jon says nothing. Robb stares at him for a long moment. He does not believe this story. Both of them know it, but Robb lets it go, because he is not yet the man who presses a question further than the answer will take him. That is a quality he is still growing into. Thank you, Robb says finally. For whatever you did. Jon nods, says nothing. Robb leaves. Jon stands alone in the emptying hall, looks up at the high seat where Robert sat, the seat where his father should be sitting. Step 1 is complete. Now comes the hard part. Robert's chambers, night. Robert sits at his desk, a map of the 7 kingdoms spread before him, a cup of wine in his hand. He is not drunk, not yet. He is thinking. Ned enters, closes the door behind him. You summoned me, Your Grace. Sit, Robert says. Ned sits, waits. He has known Robert long enough to recognize when the king needs silence more than conversation. Robert drinks, sets down the cup. 17 years, Ned. 17 years I've been married to that woman. 17 years I've slept beside her, raised her children as mine, and all of it was a lie. I'm sorry, Robert. Don't be sorry. Be useful. Robert's voice is hard. I need to send a letter to Tywin Lannister. I need to tell him what I've found, and I need to decide what to do with his children. Execute them, Ned says quietly, both of them, publicly, for treason. Robert looks at him, surprised. Eddard Stark does not usually call for executions. You think I should kill them? I think they broke the most sacred oaths in the realm, Ned says. Jaime swore to protect you as a Kingsguard. He bedded your wife instead. Cersei swore to be faithful. She made your heirs into bastards. This is not ambiguous, Robert. This is treason. Robert nods slowly. What about the children? They should be sent to Casterly Rock, raised as Lannisters, but not harmed. Joffrey is a little shit. He is 12 years old and just learned his entire life is a lie, Ned says. Give him time, or don't. But killing him would make you heiress, and you are not heiress. Robert is silent for a long moment. Then he nods. All right, the children live, but Jaime and Cersei, he pauses. I want to kill them, Ned. I want to take my warhammer and crush their skulls. Both of them. I want to make it hurt. Then do it, Ned says. Robert looks at him. You would let me? Do it as a trial. Do it in a way that the realm understands what happened and cannot later be told it was a lie. A secret execution in a northern dungeon can be reframed by Tywin's maesters as murder. A public trial destroys House Lannister's reputation permanently. Robert stares at his oldest friend. You've thought about this? I've thought about very little else since we found them, Ned says. Jon Arryn suspected the truth, he was investigating, and then he died, suddenly. Conveniently, I do not believe in convenient deaths, Robert. Not anymore. Robert's face goes very still. You think Cersei killed Jon Arryn? And I think they did it to protect the secret we just uncovered. Ned leans forward. This is not just adultery, Robert. This is a conspiracy that reaches into the heart of your government. We need to root it out, all of it, or we will never be safe. Robert nods slowly. Then we do this carefully. We gather evidence, we build the case, and when we reach King's Landing, we purge every Lannister loyalist from the city. Every one, agreed, Ned says. There is a knock at the door. Come, Robert says. Jon Snow enters. Robert looks at him. The bastard, you have good timing, boy. We were just talking about you. Your Grace? Jon's face shows nothing. Your father tells me you walk at night, see things other people miss, that you're observant. Robert studies him. How observant are you? Jon hesitates, then speaks carefully. I pay attention, Your Grace, to people, to what they do when they think no one is watching. Good, Robert says, because I'm going to need people who pay attention. People I can trust. People who aren't tied to the Lannisters or anyone else. He pauses. How would you like to come south with us? To King's Landing? Jon looks at Ned. Ned's face is carefully neutral, giving nothing away. I would be honored, Your Grace, Jon says. Good, then it's settled. Robert pours himself more wine. We leave in 3 days. We're taking Jaime and Cersei with us, in chains. I want the whole realm to see what happened. And when we reach King's Landing, we're going to clean house. Jon bows, leaves the room. In the corridor outside, he allows himself one breath, one moment. It is working. Everything is working. He just has to make sure it keeps working. The Godswood, night. Catelyn Stark finds Jon Snow in the Godswood. He is sitting beneath the heart tree. Ghost is beside him. The direwolf pup is asleep. Jon, Catelyn says, he stands. My lady, I wanted to thank you. Jon's face shows surprise. Catelyn Stark has never thanked him for anything in his life. For what, my lady? I don't know, she says honestly. But I know you did something. I know my husband is alive. I know my children are safe. And I know it's because of you. Somehow. Jon says nothing. Catelyn steps closer. I have been unkind to you your whole life, and I am sorry for that. You are Ned's son. You are a Stark. And you saved this family. I don't know how, but I know you did. I just told the king what I saw, Jon says. He does not meet her eyes. Catelyn reaches out, touches his shoulder. Thank you, Jon, for whatever you did. Thank you. She turns and walks back toward the castle. Jon stands alone beneath the heart tree, the old gods watching, silent, knowing. Ghost wakes, looks up at him. Jon kneels, scratches the pup's ears. We did it, Jon whispers. Step 1. Now comes the rest. The direwolf rumbles, content. Above them, the stars wheel through the northern sky, cold, distant, uncaring. But Jon Snow has changed the world, and he is just getting started. Winterfell. Robert Solar. 3 days after the arrest. Robert Baratheon sits at Ned's desk, composing a letter. His hand shakes slightly. Not from drink. He has been sober for 3 days, the longest stretch in years. From rage. Cold. Controlled. The kind of rage that does not dissipate but concentrates into something harder. Ned stands by the window. Jon is present, standing near the door. Robert called him in specifically. Said he wanted witnesses. Said he wanted people who understood what this letter meant. Robert speaks aloud as he writes, testing the words, making sure they land with the weight they need to carry. Lord Tywin Lannister, Warden of the West, Lord of Casterly Rock. Robert pauses, dips the quill again. Your son has broken every oath he swore as a Kingsguard. Your daughter has made the king's children bastards born of incest. I have them both in chains in Winterfell. The witnesses are unimpeachable. The evidence is absolute. He stops, looks at Ned. How does that sound? True, Ned says. Robert nods. Continues writing. You have two choices, Lord Tywin. Come to King's Landing. Kneel before me. Receive my judgment with whatever mercy I see fit to grant. Or I will consider House Lannister in open rebellion against the crown, and I will act accordingly. He signs it, Robert Baratheon, by the grace of the gods, first of his name, King of the Andals and the First Men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, and Protector of the Realm. The seal goes on, hot wax, the crowned stag of House Baratheon pressed into it, final, irrevocable. Send it, Robert says. He hands the letter to the maester waiting by the door. Fastest Raven, I want Tywin to have this within 3 days. The maester bows, leaves. Robert looks at Jon. You're quiet, boy. What are you thinking? I'm thinking Tywin Lannister will not kneel, your grace. No, Robert agrees. He won't. He'll go to war, which is exactly what I want him to do. Ned turns from the window. Robert, I know what you're going to say, Ned. War is costly. War is dangerous. War tears the realm apart. Robert's voice is hard. But Tywin has already torn the realm apart. He put his daughter in my bed, put his blood on my throne, made my entire reign a lie. I'm not negotiating with that. I'm ending it. Jon takes a breath. This is the moment where he uses 19 years of hindsight to reshape the war before it begins. Send a second Raven, your grace, to Varys, in King's Landing. Robert frowns. The eunuch, why? Approach him first. Make him understand that you know what's coming. Make him choose you before he chooses Tywin. Robert considers this. The spider plays all sides. But he also values stability. He values a realm that functions. If you show him you're prepared for what comes next, if you show him you have a plan, he'll work with you. He's useful, your grace. And useful people should be made allies before they become enemies. Ned is watching Jon with an expression that is part pride, part unease. This is not the advice of a 14-year-old boy. This is the advice of someone who has seen courts and councils and the Game of Thrones played to its bloody conclusion. Robert nods slowly. All right, we send a raven to Varys. What do I tell him? Tell him you're cleaning house, Jon says. Tell him you're removing every Lannister loyalist from King's Landing the moment you arrive. Tell him that those who serve the realm will be rewarded. Those who serve House Lannister will be removed. Make it clear which category you expect him to fall into. Robert grins. It is a wolf's grin. I like the way you think, boy. Ned, your bastard is smarter than half my small council. But his eyes do not leave Jon's face. Robert writes the second letter. Shorter, blunt. The message is clear. Choose now, Spider. Choose correctly. When it is sealed and sent, Robert leans back in his chair. There's one more raven I need to send to Stannis. Ned straightens. Your brother? Mentioned it to me once, quietly. I didn't want to hear it. Didn't want to believe my own brother would be right about something I was too drunk to see. He pauses. I'm bringing him in now, showing him the proof, making him part of what comes next. If I leave him in the dark, he'll brood. He'll calculate. He'll wonder if I'm weak. Better to make him an ally than let him become a rival. Jon speaks before he can stop himself. That's wise, your grace. Robert looks at him. You sound surprised. I'm not, your grace. Jon stops, chooses different words. Lord Stannis is a good commander, a loyal man. You'll need him for what's coming. Yes, Robert says. I will. The third raven is sent. Robert stands, stretches, looks out the window at Winterfell's yard, at the preparations for the journey south, wagons, horses, guards. 3 days, Robert says. We ride south in 3 days, and when we arrive in King's Landing, we burn every lie the Lannisters built, every single one. Ned nods. And the prisoners? Jaime and Cersei travel in chains, Robert says, on horseback, visible. I want every village, every crossroads, every inn between here and King's Landing to see them. I want the story to travel faster than any raven. I want the realm to know what happened before Tywin can spin it into something else. The people will see, Ned says. Good. Robert turns to Jon. You're riding with us, boy. Near me, I want you close. You see things other people miss. I'm going to need that. Jon bows. Yes, your grace. He leaves the solar. In the corridor outside, he allows himself one moment of relief, one breath. Stannis will come. Varys will choose correctly. The story will spread. Everything is aligning exactly as it needs to. But there is still so much that can go wrong. Casterly Rock, the Westerlands. 5 days later, Tywin Lannister sits in his solar. The letter from Robert Baratheon is on his desk. He has read it 3 times. Each time, the words do not change. Your son has broken every oath. Your daughter has made the king's children bastards born of incest. I have them both in chains. Tywin's face shows nothing. He is a man who has spent 60 years mastering his expressions. But inside, something is collapsing. Not grief. Tywin Lannister does not grieve. Something colder. The recognition that everything he has built, the restoration of House Lannister's reputation, the placement of his daughter as queen, the securing of his grandchildren's succession, has been destroyed in a single morning by his 2 eldest children's inability to control themselves. Kevan Lannister stands nearby. Brother? Call the banners, Tywin says. Kevan blinks. You're going to war? What choice do I have? Tywin's voice is flat, cold. Robert has Jaime. He has Cersei. He has proof of their crime. If I kneel, if I go to King's Landing and beg for mercy, he will execute them both in front of the entire realm, and House Lannister will be finished, not weakened, finished, and if you go to war, you face the entire North and the Stormlands combined, Kevan says carefully. Robert is not alone, Tywin. Ned Stark stands with him. The Riverlands will follow. We would be fighting half the realm. Then we fight half the realm, Tywin says, because the alternative is kneeling, and I do not kneel. He stands, walks to the window, looks out at Casterly Rock, the fortress his father nearly lost through weakness and folly, the seat he has spent his entire life defending and elevating. I will not let House Lannister become a cautionary tale, Tywin says. I will not let our name be destroyed by Robert's rage. If he wants war, I will give him war, and I will make it so costly, so bloody, that he will beg to negotiate. Kevan is silent. Then, what about the children? Joffrey, Myrcella, Tommen? He'll strip them of their titles, make them Lannisters instead of Baratheons, and send them home. He pauses. Which is fine. They are Lannisters. They should be raised as Lannisters. And Jaime? Cersei? Tywin's jaw tightens. We get them back, alive if possible, dead if necessary, but we do not leave them in Robert's hands. He turns to Kevan. Send riders to every bannerman, call every sword we have. I want 40,000 men ready to march within 2 weeks. Where? Kevan asks. The Riverlands, Tywin says. We cannot attack the north. The neck is impassable, but the Riverlands are soft, poorly defended, and Catelyn Stark is a Tully. If we ravage her homeland, Robert will have to respond. And when he does, we'll be ready. Leaves to carry out the orders. Tywin sits alone, looks at the letter again. Robert's seal, the crowned stag, the symbol of the dynasty that overthrew the Targaryens and has ruled for 17 years. Tywin has always believed that power is about perception, about the willingness to do what others will not, about never showing weakness. Going to war against Robert Baratheon is madness. Tywin knows this, but kneeling is weakness, and weakness is death. He chooses madness, the King's Road. Heading south, 298 AC. 2 weeks after the arrest. The column stretches for half a mile. 200 men, horses, wagons, the royal party heading south to King's Landing. At the front, Robert Baratheon rides with Ned Stark. Behind them, Jon Snow. Behind Jon, the Stark children, Robb, Sansa, Arya, Bran. The younger boys stayed at Winterfell with Catelyn. And in the middle of the column, visible to anyone who looks, Jaime Lannister and Cersei Lannister ride in chains. They are on horseback, not in a cage. Robert wants people to see their faces, wants the realm to witness what happens to traitors. The chains are heavy, iron. Locked to their wrists and ankles, Jaime's Kingsguard armor is gone. He wears plain wool, a prisoner's clothes. Cersei's gown is dirty, travel-stained. Her hair is pulled back without ornament. She looks like a woman, not a queen. And every person who sees her understands what that means. The story spreads ahead of them like wildfire. By the time they reach the first village south of Winterfell, the innkeeper already knows. The queen and the kingslayer, caught together, caught in treason. People line the road to watch them pass. Some jeer, some stare in silence, some cross themselves and whisper prayers. The children, Joffrey, Myrcella, Tommen, have been sent to Casterly Rock under guard. The realm knows this too. Jon rides near Robert. The king has kept him close since Winterfell, asks his opinion, listens when he speaks. It unnerves the other lords, a bastard boy riding with the king like a trusted advisor. Ned notices. He pulls Jon aside one evening when they make camp. "What are you doing?" Ned asks quietly. "What I have to," Jon says. That's not an answer. Ned's voice is firm. "You're different, Jon. Since the day we found them in that tower, you're focused, precise. You give Robert advice like you've seen this before, like you know what's coming." Then, I had a dream about what was coming from the north, about the long night, about what happens if we're not ready. Ned's face goes very still. The long night is a legend. "No," Jon says quietly. "It's not, and it's coming. Soon. I don't know how I know, but I do, and I know that if the realm is tearing itself apart when it arrives, we all die, every one of us, so I'm making sure the realm doesn't tear itself apart." Ned stares at his son. "You're asking me to believe you've seen the future. I'm asking you to trust me," Jon says. "The way you've always trusted me. Please, Father, just trust me." Ned looks at him for a long time, sees the certainty in Jon's eyes, the weight, the knowledge that should not be there. Finally, he nods. "I trust you. I don't understand. But I trust you. That's enough." Jon says. They return to the camp. Jon finds his tent. Ghost is waiting inside. The dire wolf is growing fast. Already the size of a large dog, Jon sits, scratches Ghost's ears, thinks about what comes next. Riverrun is 3 days away. Hoster Tully will receive them. The Riverlands will join the coalition. And then the trap closes on Tywin Lannister. Riverrun. The Riverlands. 3 weeks after leaving Winterfell, Hoster Tully receives them in the great hall of Riverrun. He is old, sick, but his mind is sharp and his eyes miss nothing. He looks at Jaime and Cersei in chains, looks at Robert, looks at Ned. "I heard the stories," Hoster says. "I did not believe them. But here you are, the Queen and the Kingslayer. Traitors, proven traitors. Robert says caught in the act, witnessed by a dozen men. Undeniable." Hoster nods slowly. "And you're going to war." "Tywin Lannister will not kneel," Robert says. "He'll fight. He's probably already mobilizing. Which means the Riverlands are in danger. Tywin will attack here, your lands, your people, because Catelyn is Ned's wife and he knows I'll have to respond." Hoster's jaw tightens. "Then the Riverlands stand with you. My son Edmure will lead our forces, 15,000 men. We'll meet Tywin in the field and break him." "No," Jon says. Every head in the room turns to look at him. Jon realizes he has spoken out of turn. A bastard interrupting lords, but Robert does not silence him, just raises an eyebrow. "Explain, boy," Robert says. "Tywin will expect us to meet him in a conventional battle. He'll bring his full strength, 40,000 men, maybe more. If we meet him head-on, even with the combined armies of the North, Riverlands, and Stormlands, we'll take heavy casualties. The battle will drag on, and we don't have time for a long war." "What do you suggest?" Ned asks. "A trap," Jon says. "We let Tywin march into the Riverlands, let him commit his forces, then we hit him from a direction he doesn't expect. We use the Cronogman. Howland reads people. They know paths through the neck that no one else does. We route Northern cavalry through those paths and attack Tywin's western flank, while the Riverlands and Stormlands engage him from the front. Encircle him, cut off his retreat, end the war in a single battle." Hoster stares at Jon. "You're suggesting a flanking maneuver using terrain Tywin doesn't know exists." "Yes, my lord." Hoster pauses. "That's brilliant. And insane. If the Cranogman paths don't work, if the timing is wrong, the Northern cavalry will be cut off and slaughtered. I've studied them. I know they work." Ned is looking at his son with an expression Jon cannot read. "How do you know?" "I've read the histories," Jon says. "It is not a lie. Just not the whole truth. The Cranogmen used those paths during the conquest, during the Dance of the Dragons. They've always worked." Robert leans back in his chair. "Ned, what do you think?" "I think Jon is right," Ned says slowly. "About the strategy. About Tywin. If we fight him conventionally, even if we win, we lose half our army. We can't afford that. Not with winter coming, not with the threats from the north. Robert looks at Hoster. Lord Tully, but I want your word, your grace. When this is done, when Tywin is broken, the Riverlands get justice. The villages he burns, the people he kills, they get justice. You have my word, Robert says. The alliance is sealed. The war plan is set. Edmure Tully will lead the Riverlands forces. Ned will command the north. Robert will lead the Stormlands. And Jon will coordinate the intelligence, the timing, the trap, because he is the only one who knows exactly how Tywin Lannister thinks. The Riverlands. 4 weeks after leaving Winterfell, the news arrives by Raven. Gregor Clegane, the mountain that rides, is in the Riverlands, burning villages, killing small folk, Tywin's outriders, making sure Robert knows that House Lannister is still a force to be feared. Robert reads the report. His face goes red. That fucking animal? I'm going to kill him myself. No, Ned says. You're going to let me handle it. Clegane is bait. Tywin wants you angry, wants you chasing the mountain while he positions his main force. Don't give him what he wants. Robert crushes the parchment in his fist. Then what do? We stick to the plan, Jon says. We let Tywin march in. We let him think he's winning. And then we close the trap. How long? Robert asks. 2 weeks, Jon says. Maybe less. Tywin's army is already on the move. Our scouts report 40,000 men heading east into the Riverlands. He's committed. Now we just have to be ready. Robert nods, looks at Ned. Send word to Howland Reed. I need those Cranogmen ready to guide your cavalry through the neck. And I need them ready now. Your Grace, there's one more thing. What? When we capture Tywin, and we will capture him, we don't execute him, not immediately. Robert's eyes narrow. Why the fuck not? Because a dead Tywin makes him a martyr, Jon says. His bannermen will fight to avenge him, but a living Tywin, defeated and humiliated, forced to surrender in front of the entire realm, that breaks House Lannister's mystique. That makes the other houses think twice before they ever support them again. Robert is silent. Then he laughs. A real laugh, surprised. You're a cold little bastard, aren't you? I'm practical, Your Grace, Jon says. So am I, Robert says. And you're right, we take Tywin alive. Let him rot in a cell for a while. Let the realm see what happens to lions who forget their place. Ned looks at Jon. There is something in his father's eyes. Pride. Concern. And underneath, a question Ned has not yet asked aloud. Who are you really? But he does not ask. Not yet. The Riverlands. The trap. 5 weeks after leaving Winterfell. The battlefield is a stretch of open ground south of Riverrun. Tywin's army is exactly where Jon said it would be. 40,000 Lannister soldiers in tight formation, banners flying, Gregor Clegane at the vanguard, the Riverlands and Stormlands forces engage from the front. 15,000 Tully men, 20,000 Baratheon and loyal Stormlander forces. The lines clash, steel on steel, screaming, blood. Tywin watches from his command post, assessing, calculating. He sees Robert's banners, sees the Stark direwolf, sees exactly what he expected to see. He does not see the northern cavalry moving through the hidden paths in the neck, does not know they are there until it is too late. Ned Stark leads the charge personally. 5,000 northern horse. They appear on Tywin's western flank like ghosts. Howland Reed's Cranogmen guided them through paths no Southron lord knew existed. The Lannister formation breaks. Not immediately. Tywin's men are disciplined, but they are surrounded, encircled. The front is pushing. The flank is collapsing. Tywin sees what is happening, sees the trap, sees that he has been outmaneuvered by a 16-year-old bastard's strategy. He calls the retreat, but there is nowhere to retreat to. The northern cavalry has cut off the western escape. The Riverlands hold the east. The south is Robert's Stormlanders pushing hard. The battle lasts 3 hours. When it ends, 10,000 Lannister soldiers are dead. Another 15,000 have surrendered. The remaining 15,000 scattered into the countryside, broken and leaderless. Tywin Lannister is found in his command tent. He has not fled. He is standing, alone, waiting. Robert enters the tent, Ned beside him, Jon behind them both. Tywin looks at Robert, then at Ned, then at Jon. His face shows nothing but his eyes linger on Jon for a long moment. The bastard, Tywin says quietly. This was your strategy. Jon says nothing. Clever, Tywin says. Extraordinarily clever. You used terrain I didn't know existed, timed it perfectly, encircled my army before I understood what was happening. He pauses. Who taught you to think like this? Experience, Jon says. Tywin almost smiles. You're 14 years old. What experience could you possibly have? Jon meets his gaze, says nothing. Robert steps forward. Lord Tywin Lannister, you are defeated. Your army is broken. Your children are in chains. I am giving you one chance. One. Kneel, surrender, and live. Or refuse and die here. Choose. Tywin looks at Robert for a long time. The silence stretches. Every man in the tent is holding his breath. Finally, Tywin goes to one knee. It is not a quick motion, not a collapse. It is controlled, deliberate. The motion of a man who has chosen survival over pride, even though it costs him everything. I surrender, Tywin says. His voice is flat, empty. House Lannister yields to the crown. Robert nods. Take him, chain him. He's a prisoner of the crown until I decide what to do with him. Guards move forward. Tywin does not resist. He is led out of the tent in chains. The greatest lord in Westeros, defeated, broken. Jon watches him go. Feels nothing. No satisfaction, no triumph, just the cold certainty that this had to happen. Ned approaches Jon. You knew exactly where he would be, exactly how he would move. How? I studied him, Jon says. I read everything about him, about how he thinks, how he commands. I just knew. It is not the truth, but it is close enough. Ned stares at his son, then nods. We need to talk, soon, about who you really are. I know, Jon says. But not yet, not until this is finished. Casterly Rock. 6 weeks after leaving Winterfell, the siege of Casterly Rock is brief. Without Tywin, without the main Lannister army, the castle has only a skeleton garrison. Stannis Baratheon's fleet blockades the harbor. Robert's army surrounds the landward approaches. There is no relief coming, no escape. The castle surrenders within 2 weeks. Robert stands in the great hall of Casterly Rock, the seat of House Lannister, for thousands of years. The richest castle in Westeros. The household guards, the maesters. Where is the gold? They show him. The mines beneath the castle. The vaults. The wealth that has made House Lannister the most powerful force in Westeros for generations. Robert claims it. All of it. For the crown. Reparations, he calls it. Payment for treason. Tywin, chained in a cell below the castle he spent his life defending, hears the news. Says nothing. Just sits in the darkness. His life's work. His legacy. Everything he built. Gone. Robert leaves a garrison. Northern men under a northern commander. Casterly Rock will be held by the crown now. House Lannister is finished as a power. The column prepares to ride for King's Landing. Robert, Ned, Jon, the prisoners, Jaime, Cersei, and now Tywin. The war is over. House Lannister is broken. Now comes the purge. King's Landing, the gates. 298 AC, 7 weeks after the arrest. The city opens its gates without resistance. The gold cloaks stand at attention as Robert Baratheon rides through. The small folk line the streets, silent, watchful, afraid. They have heard the stories, the Queen and the Kingslayer caught together, the war in the Riverlands, Tywin Lannister defeated and chained. House Lannister broken, now the king has come to clean house. Jon rides near Robert, Ned beside the king. Behind them, 3 prisoners in chains, Jaime Lannister, Cersei Lannister, Tywin Lannister. The crowd watches them pass. Some jeer, most stay silent. The sight of Tywin in chains is too shocking, too unreal. The greatest lord in Westeros, the man who has held the realm together through coin and fear for 17 years, defeated, humiliated, led through the streets like a common criminal. Robert does not stop at the Red Keep. He rides straight to the throne room, dismounts, walks up the steps of the Iron Throne and sits. The court assembles quickly. Lords, ladies, small council members, everyone who matters in King's Landing. They come because they have no choice, because the king has returned and he is not the drunk they remember. He is sober, focused, dangerous. Jon stands near the base of the throne, Ned beside him. Jon's eyes scan the room, taking inventory, identifying targets. There, Littlefinger, master of coin, standing near the back, watching, calculating. His face shows polite interest, nothing more. There, Grand Maester Pycelle, old, bearded, loyal to the Lannisters for decades. He looks nervous. Good. There. Varys. The Spider, the Master of Whisperers. He meets Jon's eyes across the room, holds the gaze for a moment, then inclines his head slightly. Message received. Robert's voice carries through the throne room. I went north to ask Eddard Stark to be my hand. I found something else. I found treason in my own house. In my own bed, the room goes silent. Jaime Lannister and Cersei Lannister were caught together in Winterfell. Witnesses saw them. Undeniable. The children I believed were mine are bastards born of incest. The succession I believed was secure is a fraud. Cersei is brought forward. Still in chains. Her dress is torn. Dirty. 7 weeks of travel have stripped away the last of her queenly bearing. She looks like what she is, a prisoner. Cersei Lannister, Robert says, you committed treason against your king and your husband. You made my heirs into bastards. You lied to the realm for 17 years. Do you deny this? Cersei lifts her chin. I did what I had to do to survive you. That is not an answer. It is the only answer you will get from me. Her voice is cold, defiant. She will not beg, will not weep. She is Tywin's daughter to the end. Robert nods. Then you are guilty. The sentence is exile. You will be sent to a sept of the faith. You will live as a common woman for the rest of your natural life. You will never hold power again. You will never see your children again. You will be forgotten. Cersei's face does not change, but something behind her eyes dies. The threat of death she could face. This, being stripped to nothing, being made invisible, this is worse. Guards take her away. She does not resist. Just walks. Silent. Jaime is brought forward next. He looks better than Cersei. 7 weeks in chains have not broken him. He stands straight, looks Robert in the eye. Jaime Lannister, Robert says, you swore sacred oaths as a Kingsguard. You swore to protect me, to defend my family. Instead you bedded my wife, fathered children you passed off as mine. Broke every vow you ever made. Do you deny this? No, Jaime says. I do not deny it. Do you have anything to say in your defense? Jaime is silent for a moment. Then, I loved her. That is my only defense. I loved her, and I would do it again. Robert stares at him. You're honest. I'll give you that. Most men would lie, beg, try to save themselves. You just stand there and tell me you'd do it again. Yes, Jaime says. Then you're a fool, Robert says. But you're not a coward? The sentence, you are stripped of your Kingsguard cloak, stripped of your name and lands. You will be sent to the wall, not as a sworn brother, as a condemned man. You will serve out your days in the cold, and you will never hold a sword again except to defend the realm from what comes from beyond. Jaime's face shows nothing. He nods once, acceptance. He is led away. Tywin is brought forward last. This is the moment the court has been waiting for. Tywin Lannister, the man who has ruled from the shadows for decades. Defeated, chained, he does not look broken, he looks cold, empty. A man whose life's work has been destroyed and who has nothing left to lose. Tywin Lannister, Robert says, your children committed treason. You raised them. You benefited from their crimes. The crown was in debt to you. The realm was in your pocket, and all of it was built on a lie. What do you have to say? Tywin meets Robert's gaze. I have nothing to say to you. Robert says, you are stripped of Casterly Rock, stripped of your titles. The Westerlands will be governed by the crown until I appoint a new warden. You will be confined to Casterly Rock, under guard for the remainder of your life. You will watch your legacy become a warning, and you will die knowing that everything you built, I tore down in 7 weeks. Tywin's jaw tightens, but he says nothing, just stares at Robert with cold, empty eyes. Take him to the Black Cells, Robert says. Let him rot there until I decide what to do with him. Tywin is led away. The court erupts. Not in cheers. In whispers. The shock of seeing Tywin Lannister destroyed is too great for celebration. This is history. This is the end of an era. Robert stands. This court is dismissed. The small council will convene in 1 hour. I have work to do. The throne room empties. Jon watches everyone leave. Notes who looks relieved, who looks afraid, who looks calculating. Littlefinger is calculating. Jon can see it in his eyes. The Master of Coin is already planning his next move, already figuring out how to survive this. He will not get the chance. The Red Keep. 1 hour later, Jon finds Ned in the corridor outside the small council chamber. hands him a piece of parchment, folded, sealed. "What is this?" Ned asks. "A list," Jon says. "Every Lannister loyalist in King's Landing, every planted official, every corrupt officer, every person who needs to be removed before we can rebuild." Ned unfolds the parchment, reads. His face goes pale. "Jon, this is incredibly detailed. How do you know all this?" "I pay attention," Jon says. "I listen. I watch. And I remember." And Ned stares at his son. "This level of detail, these names, some of these people I've never heard of. How could you possibly—" "Then, yes, I trust you." "Then use the list," Jon says. "Arrest them, all of them, today, before they have a chance to run or destroy evidence or warn each other. Do it now." Ned nods, folds the parchment. "I'll show this to Robert. We'll move within the hour." He walks into the small council chamber. Jon waits outside, listening. Robert's voice carries through the door. "Who do we arrest first?" Ned's voice. "Janos Slynt, commander of the City Watch. He's been taking Lannister gold for years." Littlefinger's creature. "Barristan, take 20 men, arrest Slynt, bring him to the Black Cells. Do it quietly." Footsteps. Sir Barristan Selmy leaves the chamber, passes Jon without a word. His face is grim, determined. Jon waits, counts the minutes. 30 minutes pass, then 45. Then he hears it, shouting. From the direction of the Gold Cloak barracks, raised voices, the sound of steel being drawn. Then silence. Barristan returns. His face is calm. "It's done, Your Grace. Slynt is in the cells. He tried to resist. His men did not support him. The gold cloaks are yours now." "Good," Robert says. "Who's next?" Ned's voice. "Grand Maester Pycelle." There is a pause. Then Robert laughs. "The old man? You think he's a Lannister plant?" "I know he is," Ned says. "Jon's list has evidence. Letters, payments. Pycelle has been reporting to Tywin for decades." "Then get him," Robert says. "Bring him here. I want to see his face when we tell him." Barristan leaves again. Jon hears footsteps in the corridor, moving fast, toward the Grand Maester's chambers. 5 minutes later, Pycelle is dragged into the small council chamber. Jon can hear him through the door, stammering, protesting. "Your Grace, this is outrageous. I have served the realm faithfully for 40 years. I am a man of learning, a maester of the Citadel. I would never—" "Shut up," Robert says. There is the sound of parchment being unfolded. "We have your letters, Pycelle, to Tywin, reporting on every small council meeting, every decision I made, every word Ned spoke. You've been spying for the Lannisters since before I took the throne." Silence. "Do you deny it?" Robert asks. Pycelle's voice is weak, broken. I serve the realm, Your Grace. I serve—" "You serve yourself," Robert says. "Take him to the Black Cells. Strip his chain. He's no maester anymore. He's just a traitor." Pycelle is dragged away, weeping, begging. It does not help. Jon allows himself a small smile. 2 down, 1 to go. The Red Keep, Littlefinger's chambers. That evening, Petyr Baelish sits in his chambers, reviewing ledgers, counting coin, planning. He knows what is happening, knows that Robert is purging Lannister loyalists, knows that Slynt and Pycelle have been arrested. He also knows he is next. Littlefinger has always been good at reading situations, good at knowing when to run. This is one of those moments. He has a ship waiting in the harbor, gold hidden in 3 different locations, contacts in Bravos who will shelter him. He just needs to make it to the docks. There is a knock at his door. Littlefinger freezes, considers not answering, considers climbing out the window and running now. But that would be suspicious, and if it is not the guards, if it is just a servant, running would reveal his guilt. He opens the door. Barristan Selmy stands there. 10 guards behind him. Littlefinger smiles. His best smile, charming, smooth. "Lord Commander, to what do I owe the pleasure?" "You're under arrest," Barristan says. Littlefinger's smile does not falter. "On what charge?" "Embezzlement, treason, conspiracy, take your pick." Barristan steps forward. "The king wants to see you. Now, if you'll just let me speak to his grace, I can—" "Now," Barristan repeats. Littlefinger's smile finally fades. He is not afraid, not yet. But he is calculating, rapidly, looking for the angle. The escape, the way out. He does not find one. "Very well," Littlefinger says. Lead the way. He is escorted to the small council chamber. Robert is there, Ned, and Jon Snow, standing near the window, watching. Littlefinger's eyes flicker to Jon, linger for a moment. Something in the boy's expression makes him uneasy. A certainty, a knowledge. Your Grace, Littlefinger says. He bows. I believe there has been some mistake. I am your loyal servant. I have always. You embezzled 4 million gold dragons from the crown, Robert says. He does not shout, just states it as fact. You ran brothels from the Master of Coin's office. You conspired with Lysa Arryn to poison Jon Arryn. Littlefinger's face goes still. That is a serious accusation, Your Grace. Do you have proof? Places a stack of ledgers on the table. Your ledgers. We found them in your chambers. Every transaction, every payment, every coin you skimmed from the crown and funneled into your own pockets. His mind is racing. He kept those hidden, encrypted. How did they find them? How did they know where to look? His eyes go to Jon again. The boy is watching him, unblinking. The bastard, Littlefinger says softly. You told them where to look. Jon says nothing. Littlefinger almost laughs. Clever, very clever. But you still need proof of the poisoning, and you don't have that. You can't have that, because I was very careful. Lysa Arryn sent a letter to her sister, Ned says. Catelyn showed it to me. It said the Lannisters killed Jon Arryn. But Lysa was your creature, wasn't she? You convinced her to poison her own husband, to write that letter, to start the conflict between Stark and Lannister that you needed. Littlefinger is silent, calculating. He could deny it, spin a story, create doubt. But he sees Robert's face, sees Ned's face, sees Jon's face. They have already decided he is guilty. The trial is a formality. Well, Littlefinger says, his voice is light, almost amused. I suppose I should have left sooner, hindsight, as they say. You're not leaving, Robert says. You're dying. Today. Publicly. I want the realm to see what happens to men who think they can play the Game of Thrones with my kingdom. Littlefinger's composure finally cracks, just slightly. Your Grace, I can be useful. I know things. I have information. Contacts in Essos, the Iron Bank. I can... Ned nods. Draws ice. The massive Valyrian steel greatsword. Littlefinger is dragged to the courtyard. The castle household is assembled. Forced to watch. Robert wants this witnessed. Wants the message sent. Littlefinger kneels. Ned raises ice. Any last words? Ned asks. Littlefinger looks at Jon, standing in the crowd, watching. You're not what you seem, are you, boy? I thought not. Ice falls. Littlefinger's head rolls. The crowd is silent. Jon watches without expression, feels nothing. Littlefinger tried to destroy his family, tried to play the game. Now the game is over. 3 arrests, 3 removals. The Lannister loyalists are gone. Now comes the rebuilding. The Red Keep. The small council chamber. That night, Varys enters the chamber. Robert and Ned are waiting. Jon is present, standing by the door. Varys looks at Jon for a long moment, then at Robert. Your Grace, you summoned me. I did, Robert says. His hands are folded. His face is calm. I assume this is about my future employment. It is, Robert says. You're the Master of Whisperers. You've served on the small council for decades. You have a network of informants that spans 2 continents. The question is, who do you serve? The realm, Your Grace, Varys says smoothly. That's not an answer, Ned says. It is the only answer I have ever had, Varys says. He looks at Ned. Then at Robert. I serve stability. I serve peace. I serve the idea that the small folk should not suffer for the ambitions of lords. I have always served that, nothing more, nothing less. You served the Lannisters, Robert says. I provided information to all parties, Varys says. Lannisters, Starks, you, Your Grace, when you bothered to ask, I am a neutral instrument. I do not take sides. I take knowledge and distribute it where it will do the most good for the realm. Jon steps forward, speaks for the first time. You know about Daenerys Targaryen. I know many things. You know she has dragon eggs, Jon says. You know Illyrio Mopatis is sheltering her. You know Viserys is trying to sell her to Khal Drogo for an army. You know all of this, and you have not told the king. The room goes very still. Robert stands. Is this true? Varys is silent for a moment. Then, yes, Your Grace, it is true. Why didn't you tell me? Robert's voice is rising. Dangerous. Because you would have sent assassins, Varys says calmly. You would have ordered the deaths of 2 children who have done nothing wrong. And I did not believe that served the realm. Robert's hand goes to his warhammer. Ned places a hand on his shoulder. Robert, wait. He's been hiding Targaryens from me. He's been keeping children alive, Ned says. Children who are no threat to you, who are half a world away, who have no army, no dragons, no way to invade Westeros. They have dragon eggs, Robert says. Eggs are not dragons, Jon says quietly. And Daenerys Targaryen is not her father. She is a girl. Sold by her brother, forced into marriage, she has done nothing to you, your grace. Nothing. Robert stares at Jon. You defend her? I defend children who have done nothing wrong, Jon says. He meets Robert's gaze. Steady. Certain. Kill her, and you are heiress. Spare her, and you are the king you should be. The room is silent. Robert looks at Ned. Ned nods, slowly. Robert sits. Fine, the girl lives. For now. But Varys, he turns to the spider. You work for me now. Openly. No more games. No more playing all sides. You report to me, to Ned, and to no one else. Do you understand? I understand, your grace, Varys says. Good. Get out. Varys stands, bows, leaves. When he is gone, Robert looks at Jon. You knew about the Targaryen girl. Yes, your grace. How? I pay attention, Jon says. I listen. I remember. Robert stares at him for a long time. You're not a normal boy, are you? No, your grace, Jon says. I'm not. I need people who see things others miss. I need you, Jon Snow, whatever you are. But inside he is thinking about Daenerys, about the dragons, about the long night, about all the pieces that are still in play. The game is not over. It is just beginning. The Red Keep. Robert's solar. 1 week later, Robert and Ned sit alone, a cup of wine between them. Robert has been drinking less. Ned has noticed. The king is changing, slowly becoming something he has not been in 17 years. Focused. I need to talk to you, Robert says. About Jon. Ned's face is carefully neutral. What about him? He's not normal, Ned. You know that. I know that. He thinks like a man who has lived 50 years. He sees things before they happen. He knows things he should not know. Robert pauses. Who is he really? Ned is silent for a long moment. Then he speaks. You're asking me to tell you the truth after 16 years of lies? Yes, Robert says. Ned takes a breath. Jon Snow is not my son. He is my nephew. His mother was Lyanna. His father was Rhaegar Targaryen. Robert goes very still. His face is stone. Say that again? Lyanna's son, Ned says. Born at the Tower of Joy. She died giving birth to him. She made me promise to protect him, to keep him safe from you, because she knew you would kill him if you knew the truth. Rhaegar's son, the man I killed, the man who stole her, his son. Yes, Ned says, to protect him, to honor her last wish. Robert stands, walks to the window, stares out at the city. His breathing is heavy, controlled. I should be furious, Robert says finally. I should take my warhammer and smash your skull. I should kill the boy, kill Rhaegar's son the way I should have killed him years ago. No, Robert says, I won't. Because that boy, Lyanna's boy, saved my throne, saved your head, saved the realm. He's done more in 7 weeks than I've done in 17 years. He turns, looks at Ned. I don't know what he is. I don't know how he knows what he knows. But I know this. He's not my enemy. And I owe him everything. Ned stands. What are you going to do? I'm going to legitimize him, Robert says. Publicly, I'm going to recognize him as Lyanna Stark's son, as Rhaegar Targaryen's son. I'm going to give him lands, a title, everything he should have had if the world were just. The realm will not accept a Targaryen heir, Ned says carefully. I'm not making him my heir, Robert says. The succession runs to Stannis, and to any legitimate children I might father. But Jon deserves the truth, deserves his name, and I'm going to give it to him. Ned nods slowly. When? Tomorrow, Robert says. In the throne room, before the whole court. Let them see, let them know. The Targaryen blood is back in Westeros, and it serves the realm, the Red Keep, the throne room. The next day, the court is assembled. Every lord, every lady, every person of importance in King's Landing. They have been summoned, told that the king has an announcement. Jon stands near the front. He knows what is coming. Ned told him last night, prepared him. Robert sits on the Iron Throne. I have an announcement. About the boy Jon Snow. The court goes silent. Jon Snow is not Eddard Stark's bastard son. He is Eddard Stark's nephew. His mother was Lyanna Stark. His father was Rhaegar Targaryen. The court erupts, shouts, gasps, disbelief. Robert raises his hand. Silence falls. The proof is irrefutable. Eddard Stark swears it. I believe him, and I am recognizing Jon as a legitimate son of both houses. From this day forward, he will be known as Jon Stark Targaryen. He is granted lands in the north, a lordship, all rights attendant thereto. Jon kneels. I serve the realm, your grace. I know you do, Robert says. That is why I am doing this. Rise, Lord Jon. Jon stands. The court is in chaos, whispering, staring, the Targaryen blood. In the throne room, acknowledged by the king who killed the last Targaryen king. It is impossible. It is real. The court is dismissed. Jon walks through the corridors. People stare at him, whisper. He ignores them. He finds Ned in the Godswood. The weirwood tree stands silent, watching. You told him, Jon says. I did, Ned says, and he took it better than I expected. He has changed, Jon says. 7 weeks ago he would have killed me on the spot. Now he pauses. Now he sees me as useful, as necessary. That is enough. Ned looks at his son. Who are you, Jon? Really? Not the boy I raised. Someone else. Someone older. I've lived through it. I've watched the realm tear itself apart. I've watched the long night come. I've watched everyone I love die. And then I woke up in Winterfell, 14 years old. Given a second chance. Ned stares at him. That's impossible. I know, Jon says, but it is true, and I am using this chance to make sure it does not happen again, to make sure the realm is ready for what is coming. What is coming, Ned asks. The North, Jon says, something old, something cold, something that has been waiting for thousands of years. It is coming, Father, soon, and if the realm is divided when it arrives, we all die. Ned looks at the weirwood, at the face carved into it. The old gods sent you back. Maybe, Jon says, or maybe it was something else. I don't know. I just know I have this chance, and I am not wasting it. Ned places his hand on Jon's shoulder. Then I will help you. Whatever you need, whatever is coming, we will face it together. Thank you, Jon says. They stand together beneath the heart tree, father and son. The old gods watching, and in the north, beyond the wall, something stirs. Something cold, something patient. Winter is coming. The Red Keep, the War Council. 2 weeks later. The small council has been reformed. Robert sits at the head of the table. Ned Stark, Hand of the King. Stannis Baratheon, Master of Ships. Tyrion Lannister, released from Casterly Rock and brought to King's Landing. Barristan Selmy, and Jon. Ravens from Castle Black are spread across the table. All of them carry the same message, wildlings moving south, ranging parties not returning. Cold spreading faster than the season accounts for. Ned reads one aloud. Lord Commander Jeor Mormont writes, the dead are walking beyond the wall. We need men. We need weapons. We need dragonglass. We need a king who gives a damn. Robert looks up. The dead? Is this a joke? No, Your Grace, Jon says. It is not a joke. The Night's Watch has been sending these ravens for weeks. They are ignored because no one believes them, but they are true. The White Walkers are real. The army of the dead is real, and they are coming south. You expect us to believe in children's stories? I expect you to believe the Night's Watch, Jon says. They are your eyes on the wall. They are the shield that guards the realms of men, and they are telling you that something is coming, something that will kill us all if we are not ready. Robert is silent. Then, what do you need? We need it in quantity. 10,000 men? Tyrion says. That is a significant force. The army of the dead is larger, Jon says. Much larger, and it grows with every person it kills. We need overwhelming force. We need the entire realm mobilized. Ned speaks. I believe him. I have seen things in the north. Heard stories. The old tales. They are not just tales. They are warnings. Stannis looks at the ravens, then at Jon. If we mobilize the realm for a threat that does not materialize, we look like fools. If we do not mobilize and the threat arrives, we are dead, Jon says. I would rather look like a fool and live. Send the order. 10,000 men to the wall. Volunteers first. Then conscripts if we must. I want forges producing dragonglass weapons. I want every castle stocked. I want the realm ready for war. What do we tell them, Stannis asks. What do we say is coming? The truth, Robert says. Winter is coming, and we are going to be ready for it. The council disperses. Jon stands alone in the room. Looking at the map of Westeros, at the wall, at the north, he has done it. The realm is unified. The Lannisters are broken. The king is focused. The Night's Watch will be reinforced. Now comes the hard part, surviving the long night, the Red Keep, the ramparts. Dawn, Jon stands on the ramparts of the Red Keep. Looking north, Ghost is beside him. The direwolf is fully grown now, massive, gray, silent. The sun is rising over King's Landing. The city is waking. 500,000 people, all of them alive, all of them unaware of what is coming. But they will be ready. Jon has made sure of that. He hears footsteps, turns. Varys approaches. The spider moves quietly. Always quietly. Lord Jon, Varys says. Or should I say, Lord Stark Targaryen. Jon is fine, Jon says. Varys stands beside him, looks north. You know, don't you, about the girl, about Daenerys. Yes, Jon says. You protected her from Robert, Varys says. Why? She is a Targaryen, a potential threat to your own position. She is not a threat, Jon says. She is necessary for what is coming. I have seen it. I know what she will become, and the realm will need her. Will need her dragons. Varys is silent for a long moment. You have seen the future. Yes, and you are changing it. Yes. To what end? Varys asks. Survival, Jon says. The survival of the realm. The survival of humanity, that is all that matters. Varys nods slowly. Then we serve the same master, you and I. The realm. We do, Jon says. Varys turns to leave. Stops. Looks back. The Game of Thrones is not over, Lord Jon. It is never over. But I believe you are the first player I have met who is not playing for himself. That makes you either the most dangerous man in Westeros or the most valuable. I am both, Jon says. Varys smiles. Yes, I believe you are. He leaves. Jon stands alone, Ghost beside him. The sun climbing higher in the north beyond the wall. The cold deepens. The dead stir. The Night King watches, patient, waiting. But this time, the realm is ready. This time they are unified. This time they have a chance. Jon Snow has changed the world, saved his family, saved the realm. Now he just has to save it again. From the long night. But he is not afraid. He has lived through worse. He has died and come back. He has seen the end of the world and returned to prevent it. Winter is coming, but Jon Snow is ready. He has always been ready. The screen fades to black. Then, in the darkness, one final image. Varys, alone in a candlelit room. He places a small carved piece on a map of Essos. A dragon. His finger rests on it for a moment. Then he looks up, directly at the camera. His expression is unreadable. Knowing. Planning. The scene cuts to black before his face fully resolves. The game continues. Always. Let us know what you'd like to see next.